Welcome back to another episode of Health Hacks. And today I want to share with you how and why a child can learn so much so quickly. We've all heard that children are like sponges, and we know that children do learn so much so quickly, and that's when they pick up language and foreign languages. And yet, as we get into our teenage years and adulthood, it seems so much harder to learn than when we were children. And this has to do with our unconscious mind. So we all have a conscious mind and an unconscious mind, and the conscious mind makes up 10% of our mind, and the unconscious mind makes up 90% of our mind. And between the two, there is something called a critical faculty, and it is like a lace like barrier that allows ease of flow of communication between the two minds. And if we don't have the tools of the unconscious mind, once we get into the school system, we're very much taught to be in our conscious thinking mind, and we're not using the tools of the unconscious mind. And so that critical faculty can become a little bit like concrete, and we have less flow between the two minds. Now, the good news is that we can always improve. And therefore, as we learn the tools of the unconscious mind and start using them, that critical faculty becomes more like lace. Now, children, on the other hand, they don't have a critical faculty. It doesn't develop until the ages of about 7 to 9 years old, when logical thinking starts to develop. And so until then, they are entirely in their unconscious mind. And at that point, they're in their theta brainwave, which is a trance-like state. And that is what is allowing them to literally absorb everything. We're born like computer hardware. And then for the first, 7 to 9 years of life, it's just download, download, download all the software to learn how to smile, to roll over, to sit up, to crawl, to walk, to learning our mother tongue, to starting to learn the rules of the home, to learn rules at school, the rules of community. All of that is absorbed because they're entirely in their unconscious mind, in their theta brain wave. Versus as we get older and that critical faculty develops and we get into our thinking mind, now we're working and spending most of our day in our beta brain waves. And as a result, we're not in that same state where we can just absorb all of this information so quickly. And I found that fascinating when I learned that. And now when I run training programs, I teach people how to get into their learning state so that they can learn the information I'm sharing really quickly and easily and absorb it. And I also teach that all learning, all behavior, all change is actually entirely unconscious. We have to first learn something, then we have to put it into action. It requires both the theoretical learning and the experiential learning in order to create the change. So if you're just reading a book and you love everything that you read in the book, however, you don't put anything into practice, you just put the book back on the shelf, that's what we call shelf development. True self-development and learning is happening with the combination of the theoretical learning, the experiential learning. That's where we get to real change in your life. So if you'd like to learn more about this, if you're looking for change in your life, if you're wondering why you haven't been able to learn the things that you've wanted to learn or create the change that you've wanted to create in your life, it's because you're probably using the wrong tool for the job, trying to do it with your conscious mind. If you want to know more about your unconscious mind and tapping into the tools to allow for ease of learning, reach out. Melissa@yourguidedhealthjourney.com. I have lots of training programs, and we are always working with the power of the unconscious mind.